Hello, this is Opal Singleton of Exploited Crimes and Technology. We come to you every Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock right here on AM 590, The Answer. Well, I've been away on a little vacation. It was good to get away. Very, very good to get away for a bit. And now I'm all loaded for bears. So thank you for joining us today. We're going to be talking about a lot of really tough stuff. For you folks that don't normally follow us, this show is brought to you by millionkids.org, MILLION, millionkids.org. More than 1 million kids are trafficked each year throughout the world. And in that case, we're talking about human trafficking. But for the past 15 years, we have here in Southern California and across the nation been training more than 500,000 people. I quit counting at 500,000. I thought, who cares at that point? But we train, we're a certified law enforcement trainer. We've trained the public. We train first responders, fire departments, code enforcement people, all kinds of law enforcement, school officials, civic groups, and like that, on subjects related to sex and labor trafficking, human trafficking of all kinds, including human smuggling, which we'll talk about a little bit yet today. We also deal with things like social media exploitation, like when your child, God forbid, let's hope not, that when they do something stupid and send one of those photos out there and their life changes forever. We serve as the Riverside County Human Trafficking Task Force Training and Outreach Coordinator for that task force. And so we deal with real cases. So we're not any kind of crazy extremist. We deal with real life and life when it gets tough. And so a lot of the work I do is tough work. And that's why it was good to go away. Yeah, I like that. Anyway, but it is tough when a child gets violated or a family is missing their child. A lot of times the child will run away. And by child, I'm talking about someone that can easily be even 14, 15, or 17 years old. And we know they're not a child. They're, in fact, a young adult. But they are under the age of 18. And the laws are such that they're protected in many ways. But it's also very, very difficult for the parent if they don't know where that child is. Well, there's a lot of things going on right now that really have me in a tizzy, for a lack of looking for a Christian word there. Okay. It's election time, and I'm not going to get political on you. This is not a political organization. However, you should know who you vote for and what they voted for. That's what I want you to pay attention to. I've renamed this show 3 different times now today. My first thought is to name it a tsunami of man-made chaos. Because when I look at the things that are coming down the pike that are going to affect our children and ourselves, they're all man-made. They weren't required, in my opinion. There wasn't some immediate situation that said, if you don't change these laws, somebody's going to get seriously hurt. No, these are laws that have been created for a small amount of the public, and which the entire amount of the public will pay the price. And so it's man-made. Nothing here just happened out of the sky, and I want to talk about that. I thought for a little bit about calling it a war to protect our kids, because I feel like that we as parents need to basically be on a war to protect our kids at this point, because there's so much outside influence going on our children. In fact, the third title I came up with is A Battle for Our Kids' Minds, because there are several things I want to talk about. There are some laws that have been passed. And it's really fascinating how many of you out there, even though I have ranted and raved, how do you like that word? Ranted and rated, raved. Anyway, even though I've carried on, I thought everyone on the face of the earth knew. In fact, I spent way too much money of our money, or really looking for donations at this point because I was combating SB 357. Now, I'm going to come back to that in a minute, but that bill, in essence, it is signed. It is a finished bill. We have no way now to combat it. And it's amazing to me, even though we spent a lot of money and time buying press releases and educating the public, how few people understand what SB 357 is and how it will change your life. That bill, in essence, will legalize street prostitution in the state of California starting January 1st. It is a bill that has passed the House, it's passed the Assembly, and Governor Newsom has signed it. So I want to come back to that in a minute, but that bill, in my opinion, did not need to happen. And so I want you to understand how that's going to impact you and your children. Another bill that a friend of mine just made me aware of that was signed with almost no fanfare. Keep in mind, none of this stuff is on the ballot. It isn't like they are asking for your opinion. No, their attitude is, you voted for me and I have the power to do what I want. And that is what they've done. And this is SB 107. It's basically a puberty blocking. It is called the... what is it called? It's like the data protection law, data sanctuary law. And it's about bringing in people from all over the United States that are 12 years of age or older to give them a sex change operation, which you are going to pay for. And it's going to get worse because their parents cannot intervene or even be notified. And in fact, if someone brings them in, that be obviously if they're 12, they're not driving, that person will not be charged with kidnapping here in the state of California. Now, is this legal? We don't know. Is it consistent with Constitution? Even Governor Newsom says he's not sure. But having said that, that bill is signed. I also want to talk about the impact on our lives of our children based on the fentanyl crisis, because this is truly a crisis. And finally, I want to talk about the swarming thefts that I see going on around the countryside. We saw them over there. We saw one out of, I think it was outside of Marina Del Rey. This week, we had one out of Nordstrom Rack in Riverside, where a group of girls all came in and just took what they want, starting with very expensive purses. And then we saw another one at the Smart and Final, where they just loaded up buggies of diapers and of detergent, and were trying to just walk out with it without paying. One of them was intercepted. All of these things are things that are circulating around what would normally be a solid way of life in America, where you can have free speech, you can say what you want, but that most of us believe that we were good law-abiding citizens, that we had a right to privacy, that we had a right to free speech. That concept has been gone for quite a long time now. And you know, that we can raise our children in a way that we can be proud of. Well, I'm going to start out before I even get into these laws and tell you that I have racked my brain because we're solutions-oriented company, millionkids.org. Go look us up. Go on one of our YouTubes or go onto our website or go and look at our new movie that's coming out. And yes, it is out now. You can buy that. Sextortion, The Hidden Pandemic. It's even on Amazon now. And I think MSNBC, I'm not sure of that one, but I know it's on iTunes and Apple TV and Vimeo and Amazon and like that. You can see that film if you want at sextortionfilm.com. You can download it and your family can watch it together, and I highly recommend. It'll be the best $10 you ever spent to do that and understand how all of this is happening. But what I am very concerned about is that there is a trend going on in our state to legislate, to enact laws that protect a very minor number of people in our state. And at the same time, from my point of view, it really does make it difficult for a child and a parent raising a child. I try to come up with, how can I help you in this? How can I combat this so that our children are not being exploited? Even if it's not meant to be exploited, how can I combat it? And I really come back to having to return to the basics. Many of you know we sell the challenge coin that you can buy at millionkids.org, and it says, I believe in you. We got to get back to the basics. When you take the high road, it's going to be a lot more easy and fun for you than when you take that low road. You're going to pay that price. We have got to get back to the basics. This is Opal Singleton. We are up against that break, so I'm going to ask you to stay with us, and we're going to be back in a minute. Thanks.
Are you tired of eating at the same old restaurants? Let me tell you about a fabulous Italian restaurant we found in Riverside, Mamma Mia's Italian Restaurant. Their caprese salad is exquisite with candied balsamic glaze. All of their sauces are special recipes using only the best olive oils. The salads are fresh and healthy. They offer a wonderful array of pastas, including shrimp scampi, capellini, bolognese, and lasagna. They're famous for their gourmet pizza, and you can order online for takeout or have a special date for dining in with family and friends. Mamma Mia's caters special occasions and hosts private events. You have to try it out. Mamma Mia's Italian Restaurant, located at 10971 Magnolia Avenue in Riverside, 1 block north of La Sierra on Magnolia. That's Mamma Mia's in Riverside. Be sure to tell Michael, Alex, or Joseph you heard it on AM 590 The Answer.
Hello, this is Opal Singleton of millionkids.org. I believe the 4 most powerful words on earth are I believe in you. So we created a challenge coin that says, I believe in you on one side and stand tall, you are loved on the other side. This one-of-a-kind challenge coin is a perfect gift for birthdays, anniversaries, graduation, Christmas presents, or just an anytime gift for someone you love. What a powerful message for a parent or a grandparent to give to a young person. This 2-inch coin is made of polished gold. It's striking to look at, and it is priceless to hold. It is packaged in a beautiful black velvet gift box. What a great way to leave a legacy of love that will last forever. To purchase this coin, go to millionkids.org/gallery. Each coin is $25. Go to millionkids.org/gallery to purchase and give a legacy of love.
Real estate sales in the Inland Empire are really hot. Sellers and buyers recognize that these low interest rates will not last. Sean and Colleen at Caldwell Banker Armstrong Properties in Riverside are proud to sponsor this show. They are the best in the Inland Empire. They're fair, honest, creative, and they care about you and your situation. If you're in the market to buy or sell a home, call Sean and Colleen at 951-529-4066.
AM 590, The Answer.
Hello and welcome back to Exploited Crimes and Technology. This is Opal Singleton. I'm the host of your show. I'm also the president of millionkids.org. And I serve as the training and outreach coordinator for the Riverside County Anti-Human Trafficking Task Force. So I want to talk about these laws that are coming up and how the changes that are going on in our society based on political decisions, based on legislation, and how it's going to affect us. So I'm amazed at the number of people that have not heard about this. If you have heard, bear with me a little bit. I won't carry it on through the whole show, but I want people to know what is really about to happen. So last October, Senator Weiner pushed through a bill on the Capitol Hill in Sacramento, and it was passed by the legislators, passed by the House, and it was passed by the Assembly. And it is called SB, Senate Bill 357. And that bill rewrote the penal code that defined prostitution for the state of California. And it went further, and it said in there that law enforcement will no longer be able to intervene if you are loitering for the purposes of soliciting for prostitution. It doesn't say if you're soliciting to buy or sell. So starting January 1st, as this bill is now a law enforcement in the state of California will not be able to intervene if someone is out walking up and down the streets, hanging on a car, soliciting for prostitution. And that bill went a little bit further even. Before I go any further on it, let me tell you the history of this bill. So it was passed last October. I didn't even know this could happen legally, but it did. Senator Weiner did not send that bill to Governor Newsom to sign, which you would think that if the House and the Assembly had signed it, and supposedly all the people who voted for all of those legislators, their constituents, would want to rush that bill right up to Newsom to get it signed. But that did not happen. They knew that it was going to be controversial. So they sat on that bill and did not forward that bill to Governor Newsom until after the recall election and until after the primary election. About 3 to 4 days after the primary election is when Governor Newsom signed it. It is called the California Safer Streets Act, SB 357. They even call it a human trafficking bill, and it is sponsored by one of the largest human trafficking advocacy groups in California. I'm going to tell you, I don't agree with it. I do not believe it will make California streets safer. Governor Newsom went so far as to say this will not legalize street prostitution in the state of California. And I found that interesting because if law enforcement cannot intervene when someone is loitering to solicit for street prostitution, doesn't that make it legal? If you cannot intervene, how can that be, considered illegal? And so it will be very, very difficult. Your world next year, by this time, will change dramatically. It's already started. Because what happens in that bill is that there is another clause that says that if you have been previously charged, arrested, or convicted and sentenced, or if you are currently incarcerated, that those you can petition the state and have all of that taken off your record. And if you're incarcerated for it, you can get out. That is the living truth, exactly as it is. So some friends of mine that work South Central LA, they started watching to see if there was a change yet, because that bill goes into effect January 1st. And they happened to drive up and down Figueroa over in LA. And this one lady who I admire and trust greatly said that she counted more than 50 young ladies out in a 2-block area soliciting publicly for prostitution already. That the pimps are already bringing people in because they know, because of that bill and the way that it's written, that law enforcement, there's no use right now even doing reverse stings to pick up sex buyers or someone that might be out doing commercial sex, because it already says that if you're being charged with it or have been charged, it will be dissolved. It'll be taken off your record. And so they're already starting to line up. I believe with all my heart, you are going to see a change in your neighborhood, because there are no restrictions on this. It doesn't say, well, you can't be out in front of a school, or you can't be in front of a church, or it can only be this time of day or that time of day. You are going to have a lot of women, a lot of transgender, a lot of gay people who decide to go out and solicit street prostitution, and it will be everywhere. I am very concerned for the homeless people. They are out there anyway, and they need money, and somebody will violate them. I'm very concerned for those people who have come in that owe money to a coyote or maybe organized crime that helped them get in. Right now they go up and down and sell flowers out on the street or cocos on the corner. But that is going to change as this law is put out there. I'm very concerned that you're about to see a major influx from Southeast Asia, from Eastern Europe, from a lot of countries bringing their people in to make money with commercial sex that will be laundered back to their own country. Now, we've already had a thriving business in California on that when you look at all these massage parlors and like that. We've had cases here in Southern California. One case was recruiting, bringing them in legally, women from South Korea and also from China. And they had 20,000 sex ads, 20,000 sex ads. Those girls are not making that money. They're making the money. They're not creating or keeping the money. It is all going back to major crime that then money launders it. So this law is going to change your life, and it starts January 1st. So I think I was talking to some people in the education system today, and I say we got to get there early and start to have that hard talk with our kids. We got to have sex talks with our kids long before we ever did in the past. In fact, if you're thinking of giving your kid a phone, you better have that adult sex talk with them, because they are going to be educated about things that you can't even imagine by people that you have never met. And many of them are halfway around the world because of how our technology is advancing. So we have to get a lot more proactive as parents, as civic leaders. If these laws are going to go in, we got to get there first with our kids. And I think you have to start right out with the basics. You take the high road, you'll be okay. You take the low road and you're going to pay a price. And our society is reaching a point where you're going to pay a price in ways we can't even imagine. And we will not be able to protect you from it. You know, I talk about sextortion because we made the film, Sextortion film. Actually, Stephen Peake and Maria Peake made it, but we helped finance it. And along with Giving University. But I think about that because what we're seeing now is a lot of our kids that choose to send a naked photo without ever having any understanding of where it's going to go and how quickly they will be blackmailed. And many of these blackmail cases include sending a lot more provocative photos and meeting up and conducting commercial sex because that person owns them at that point. They are capable of destroying our kids. If you send a illicit photo out there, your life is going to change forever. And we can't be beating around the bush, Mom and Dad. If we got to get there first. These people are setting up laws so that our kids are going to see stuff that we never even could have imagined this time last year. And this is changing very, very fast. Now, I'm not going to tell you who to vote for. I am not trying to get you to be one side or the other or whatever it is you're doing. But I am going to suggest to you that you take a good look at some of the ballots that are out there and the history of the people who are running for office and what they vote for, because they're not going to ask you to vote on it. They are going to say, nope, they gave me the power and I will make my own decisions. And once it's done, it's done. It is harder than heck to get these bills turned around. My name is Opal Singleton, and we are coming up against that break. So I'm going to ask you to stay with us. We're going to be right back.
Societal Shift, A World Without Borders and a Home Without Walls. This is the most important book you will read this year, especially if you have children or grandchildren. We are living at the most important time in all of history. In 2020, the entire world will be connected by internet, more than 6 billion people coming together. Technology will provide many great advantages for our kids, but a world without borders for our kids is also a world without borders for pimps, predators, pedophiles, cartels, and organized crime. It is a home without walls because 87% of the kids sleep with their phone. It is the greatest societal experiment of all time. Our kids are technology geniuses, and their parents are technophobic. Some are techno-impotent. New apps come with no warnings on how a predator will use them against our kids. Advancing technologies like encrypted messaging, vaporware, artificial intelligence, cryptocurrency, and the dark net will challenge law enforcement, teachers, and parents to keep kids safe. Recent research states that 9,000 kids a day are being blackmailed with a naked photo, and 58% will meet their predator. It is indeed a societal shift. and one in which most parents are unprepared. If you are a parent or grandparent, teacher, counselor, or social worker, please take time to read Societal Shift. Only $18.99 plus $6 shipping. Order today at millionkids.org. That's millionkids, millionkids.org. It'll be the greatest gift you can give your family and yourself. Order Societal Shift today. Million Kids takes checks and credit cards. Opal Singleton, the author, will personally sign the book and send it to you. Again, go to millionkids.org and order Societal Shift today. Join Million Kids. Keep our kids safe from predators.
Hello, this is Opal Singleton of Exploited Crimes and Technology. I want to tell you about a book I wrote called Seduced, The Grooming of America's Teenagers. It's all about how predators access, groom, recruit, and exploit our young people using social media, online gaming, video chat rooms. Technology is changing at the speed of light, and we have to understand how to keep our kids safe from predators. So you can get this book by going to www.millionkids.org. It's $16. I'll sign it and I'll ship it to you personally. We hope that you will order this book, educate yourself about how to keep our kids safe in this day of changing technology. Join us each Saturday for our radio show at Exploited Crimes and Technology at 3 o'clock on AM 590, The Answer. Hello and welcome back to Exploited Crimes and Technology. You can tell I'm really on a roll. I am fired up, folks. When I start to see all this stuff happening to our kids and our families, it just kind of really gets to me. And so that is what Million Kids is all about. If you support our work and are willing to support us financially, several of you this past week have sent in just generous checks, and I greatly, greatly appreciate you. I spent a lot of money combating SB 357. I may be way too much for the proportion of our budget, but I just felt like, it's a now or never if that bill passes, and that bill has passed. And I also, of course, have spent the last few months releasing Sextortion, the Hidden Pandemic. So I'm going to ask you guys to please go on and buy that movie, Sextortion, the Hidden Pandemic. I guess you can rent it on Amazon for $4.99 or something. But if you want to download it and show it with other people, your kids, your grandkids, your pastor, your youth group, anybody that you want to show it to, we want that film around the world. You can order it. You can see it or order it through millionkids.org, and that'll link you over to the film site. I would ask you to come on to millionkids.org and sign up for our newsletters and, stay close to us on all this stuff that is happening so we can keep you educated. But the film itself can be downloaded through sextortionfilm.com. So that word is sextortion. Sextortion. It's kind of a combination of the word sex and extortion. It basically is blackmail with a photo or a live stream or a video. And it is a massive, massive problem throughout the world. In fact, last year, National Center for Missing and Exploited Children took 29.3 million potential cases that they reported. That's 80,000 a day. And many of them are our own kids who are taking their own photo because they don't have the cognitive reasoning. They haven't been given the education about how that internet is made and who wants that photo and where they're going to go. I want to do a takeoff here because one of the things that I've talked about of late that really bears on my heart is this isn't just the perpetrator down the street, the pedophile living in mom's basement. These are global child pornography rings that are trying to appear to be young, good-looking girls and guys to get our kids to send in something thinking they have a relationship. One of those child pornography rings that they closed down last year was called Welcome to Video. It had 1 million paid subscribers. One of them had 400,000, another one had over 300,000. If your child sends one of those photos to one of those people in that ring, their photo will go to 1 million people before you can ever go, oh my gosh. Okay. It will happen at the speed of light. And if you have not had that conversation with your child, please get that movie and sit down and all of you watch it together. And mom and dad, this has got to be a partnership. This isn't a thou shalt not and I'm going to get you kind of thing. Your child is living in a world where they can literally have 10, 15, 20 million followers. It is not like you and me on Facebook with 45 friends and you question one of them, okay? They aren't going to know who is out there. When I talk in schools, I share with kids, if you have 1 million followers, what percentage of them are pedophiles? At least 1%. Are you strong enough to stand against 10,000 pedophiles, many of them trying to get you, a movie star contract or get you to be an influencer, and you think you're hot, and they take your photo and they begin to destroy you? Well, this has moved into now, because the entire world is connected by internet, these third world countries are doing that. They've set up sites. In fact, if you follow us on millionkids.org, you will see we have had a trend of beautiful young people taking their own life within 6 to 12 hours of being blackmailed, because they're being blackmailed out of telemarketing centers in third world countries who want money. National Center for Missing and Exploited Children just released a statistic for last month that 76% of blackmail cases last month wanted money. That's telling you there's a massive increase of these just ruthless rings that are targeting our kids. Now, your kid thinks it's not going to happen to them, or they're going to be so smart they'll figure it out before they get caught. Wrong. Tell that to 29 million other people. They will not, unless we start working with them to educate them on what to look for. They will not realize that it isn't that hot 14-year-old girl. And by the way, more guys are sextorted than girls. They won't realize that until the blackmail begins. And at that point, they panic. And some of them take their lives. Others of them steal money to try to fix it. But this is a real trend going on. And this is the reason why I say we got to get back to basics. That's man-made chaos because of the advanced technology going on and all the talk about censorship and like that. Who is really ringing the bell that our kids do not understand how the internet's made, and they don't understand they're walking right into an international trap that will change their life and their future and your life, mom and dad, forever. So these things are happening. Along with it, there is another new bill that was signed this week. I can hardly say this with a straight face. SB 107 is a puberty blocking bill. And this bill, my friend had to tell me because I was on vacation that this got signed, and I just can't believe it. This is called the Data Sanctuary Bill. In essence, it's targeted towards young people 12 and up that want to get sex changes. And the parent may not want to know, but these are not California kids. This bill is set up just like the abortion bill, that if you can't get your sex change in your state and be protected, you can come to California and we will provide that. On top of it, we will not inform your parents. And if an adult drives you out here because you're only 12, then that adult is also protected. And this bill, you can look it up. It's called SB 105, California Senate Bill 105, again, sponsored by Senator Weiner and signed by Newsom. And he is saying that, oh, no, this isn't how it looks, except it is how it looks. That we are, in essence, providing sex change tourism, the same as we're providing abortion tourism. If your state doesn't protect you and provide it, you can get to California and we will keep you away from your parents so that you can have the sex change of your dreams as long as you're 12 years old or up. If you don't believe me, look that up. SB 107. And when I see bills like this, I just say to myself, how can this be? How could this possibly be in my lifetime, in my state, in my community? And what can I do about it? Again, we have to return to the basics, and that is the work of Million Kids. I believe in you. That is our model. We sell challenge coins for them. We have to start from the very beginning with our children and say, let's make a pact. I want you to grow up to be fine, decent, proud individual. I am your biggest fan. I am here for you, but we have to have dialogue because you are going to have more opportunity than any generation before you, but you're going to have more people trying to influence you in some of the most bizarre ways. And we have to decide who we are and what we stand for as individuals and as families. I think of that Bible verse, as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. And that we got to get back to that basic of, we would not go into a store and swarm. I don't care what social media says, that it's all okay because it's just a big game on social media. We are people who are proud, who are honorable, and who are decent, and we do not go in and take from others, and we do not take something that doesn't belong to us. And just because social media glamorizes it does not make it correct. Just because social media glamorizes, transgender and sex change, that does not mean that it's right for us. Just because our state says that it's okay to solicit for street prostitution does not mean that is who we are or what we stand for. So, Mom and Dad, I think we need those hard talks, and this is one of them today. And if you're still with me, I'm proud of you because this isn't an easy talk to have on the radio. I'm going to ask you to stick with me one more time here as we close this out. But I believe we've got to take this by the throat and make it change. This is Opal Singleton. Be right back.
Listen up, folks. You no longer have to drive out of the IE for a great restaurant experience. The Toasted Barrel, an upscale casual steakhouse located in Corona, has been winning award after award for their great diverse menu, service, ambience, wine, and cocktails. Customers call the Barrel the perfect date night. Inland Empire Magazine has awarded them Best Restaurant 4 years in a row. Wine Spectator recognized the Toasted Barrel's wine program for their award of excellence. Toasted Barrel is famous for their certified Angus beef, prime, Wagyu, and Kobe steaks, and they have some of the best pasta and seafood around. With happy hour and daily specials every day of the week, their appetizers and drink selections are the best around. Live music starts every Friday and Saturday at 5:30. Planning a dinner party, wedding rehearsal, family gathering, or holiday party? Look up Toasted Barrel online and make your reservation today.
Hello, this is Opal Singleton of Exploited Crimes and Technology. Let me tell you about my friend Doris Anderson at Remax Realty in Upland. She is amazing. She's kind, she's patient, but she listens. And she's informed, and she will help you with your real estate transaction in a way that works for you. Doris, in full disclosure, often supports the work of Million Kids because she cares about young people. But she knows how to analyze a market, how to market a property, and how to find just the right transaction for both buyers and sellers. If you're looking to buy or sell real estate or invest in income property, contact Doris Anderson at Remax Realty 951-733-8899. That's 951-733-8899. 951-733-8899.
Custom Service Systems, a proud supporter of Million Kids, is a family-owned and operated commercial cleaning company servicing the Inland Empire and surrounding areas since 1974. CSS takes pride in their ability to maintain the business facilities they serve and their long-lasting relationships with their valued clients. CSS provides a variety of cleaning systems customized to client needs, including deep cleaning and disinfectant to be COVID-19 compliant. From basic office cleaning to windows and floors, CSS will clean up your mess so you don't have to stress. Custom Service Systems cares about families and communities and wants to give back. Custom Service Systems are proud supporters of Million Kids to keep kids safe from predators. If you need the best cleaning services for your business or corporation, contact Custom Service Systems at cssclean.com. Again, cssclean.com, or call 951-781-9345. That's 951-781-9345. You will know you found the best. Custom Service Systems.
AM 590. The Answer.
Hello and welcome back to Exploited Crimes and Technology. This is Opal Singleton, and we are talking about the tsunami of man-made chaos going on around us. And the more I think about this, the more I realize none of this had to happen. It happened because of the people that we put into office, who then talk about ways that they can wield power and control, but it is affecting our families and our kids. And I believe it has gone way too far. So I'm not here to tell you how to vote, but I'm here to ask you to look at who you're voting for and what is their record. One of the other things that is really, really impacting our families is this open border situation, because it is driving a major fentanyl epidemic. And it is fentanyl. I did some research on it to kind of give you the official wording on it, since I'm not an expert at drugs. But fentanyl is a synthetic opiate that is up to 50 times stronger than heroin and 100 times stronger than morphine. Okay. Now, there is a legal manufacture of it, but what I'm going to talk about is the illicit manufacturing of it. I was looking at some data here to prepare for this show. They're saying 3 times more guys are dying of this than girls, for what it's worth. What I do know is that fentanyl is, in the past, has been the base of it was created in China and shipped over to Mexico. And then they would take the base and then form it into the drugs and do the smuggling to get it in across the borders and over to our people. But that has changed from everything that I've researched. China now is the one that's doing a lot of Mexico's money laundering. I was preparing for a presentation I'm making in Arizona this week. And the Attorney General for the state of Arizona said in writing that right now that the cartels are making about $14 million a day in human trafficking smuggling fees alone. Now, that doesn't have anything to do with the guns or the drugs or anything. 14 million a day. And he didn't say if that's U.S. or Arizona only, but it appeared to me to be Arizona only. So we do have, regardless, I mean, I get so sick of this stuff on TV where they go, well, we don't have an open border, and it was like that. And I'm like, everybody's standing around pointing the finger. And this has been going on for at least almost 3 years, and nobody is stopping it. That open door creates a super highway for fentanyl distribution within the United States. So as I look at all this, it's fentanyl is sold alone or in combination with other drugs. It's been identified in counterfeit pills mimicking pharmaceutical drugs such as OxyContin. The DEA found that 2 out of every 5 counterfeit pills with fentanyl contains a potentially lethal dose of fentanyl. One of the things I saw on TV this last week is now they're making it look like candy. Brightly colored fentanyl, referred to as rainbow fentanyl, has been identified as a new trend by the DEA, including pills, powder, and blocks. They can resemble sidewalk chalk or candy. It comes in all forms, and it is absolutely dangerous. So as I looked at the fentanyl thing, I came to understand that this also is a man-made crisis because of the fact that if we did not have complete open borders, then we would not be having that into our children. I looked at a article. This happens to be Breitbart, but I try to get my data from both sides of the aisle to walk down the middle. But they are saying fentanyl seizures tripled nationwide in July, enough to kill 469 million people. Now, a couple of these seizures of fentanyl that I've seen at the border. Now, keep in mind, these are the ones they're catching, okay? A couple of them have been big enough they could wipe out the entire U.S. Well, what is happening is that the cartels are using TikTok and social media, Instagram, and some of those, and luring our kids to come to the border, telling them they can pick up $2,000 or $3,000, and all they have to do is either transport people or they'll end up transporting drugs and then bringing them back to the United States. And a lot of our kids are getting caught up in that very thing. They see the article, they think, okay, I'll borrow mom and dad's SUV, I'll be down there and back before the day's over. They'll never know what I did. And I'll pick up $2,000 or $3,000 and I can get, a down payment on a motorcycle or my skateboard or whatever it is you're going to get. We have to start from the beginning, mom and dad. If you take shortcuts, you're going to pay a price. If you take chances on the internet, you're going to pay a price. If you decide to take the low road, believing you won't get caught, then we need to talk because we have to get back to basics. That's exactly where I believe we're at. I think it starts with believing in your kid, sharing with your kid. That's why we sell those challenge coins out here so that you and your child can develop a strategy where they can be a leader, especially if they have younger brothers and sisters. Just imagine what it's going to be like. If you have a 7-year-old child now, imagine what this is going to be like by the time they're 12 or 13 and going through puberty and wanting to make one of those twerking videos on TikTok. This is going to get crazy. And I look at this and I think the fact that you have sat through this show tells me you care. The fact that you're willing to listen tells me that you want to be a leader and you want to do something about it. And it's going to take each and every one of us. This is bigger than Million Kids. Trust me. We're a small agency. We've made a mighty impact with that movie. We are changing lives. We do it here in the Inland Empire. We do it also across the United States, training law enforcement. But it's going to take each and every one of us. And I honestly would ask you to search your soul this week and say, what kinds of solutions can we come up with to protect our children so that they don't fall prey to these kinds of things? When I was a kid, it was just, everybody just hoped and prayed that your 15-year-old didn't get pregnant. Now you hope and pray your 15-year-old lives to be 16. And it is because of these kinds of laws. And this election's coming up. Pay attention. It's time for us to get involved and make a difference. Well, this organization is called Million Kids, millionkids.org. I would ask each and every one of you to search your soul if you have it in your heart to help support us financially. This is a mighty big fight. We have this radio show. We have our film. We have a couple of books. We train people everywhere we can, but we're only one. But we need your support to do it. We need your prayers. We need your support. And we need to be able to understand the value of the future for our children. This is the strangest time in all of history. If you'd even told me this 3 years ago, I would not have believed it. That in such a short time, we can change the laws in ways that 12-year-olds can come from Oklahoma and get their gender identity changed, and nobody should tell their parents, and parents will not be allowed to intervene. And we're a sanctuary data site now, a sanctuary data state, and it just makes me ill when I think of it. I can hardly think about what our state is about to be like in January when law enforcement can no longer intervene. We need you, folks. We need your prayers. We need your finances. We need your support. And we need you to think about it and get involved. Start with your own family. If you're a grandparent, start with your grandchild and talk with them about these things and get their feedback on it. Pay attention to what your children are doing online and who they're hooking up with, because now, literally, for your child, it is a world without borders and a home without walls. 87% of kids sleep with their phone. Anybody in the world can come in and reach your child at 3 a.m. if you're allowing that. So think about all of this, and I'd appreciate your feedback and your input. You can reach me at opal, O-P-A-L, at millionkids.org. opal@millionkids.org. I may not reply the first day because I'm traveling quite a bit in the next 2 weeks, but I will reply, trust me, and I'd appreciate it. Thank you for each and every one of you that share this show, that tell others about the show, and who support us financially. You can do that by going to millionkids.org or mailing a check at P.O. Box 7295, Riverside, California, 92507. Mom and Dad, Grandma and Grandpa, put your arms around each other. Family is everything. They must know that you believe in them, and I believe in you. You folks have a great week, okay? And I'll see you next Saturday at 3 o'clock on AM 590, The Answer.
This message is all about Million Kids, the organization that helps locate missing kids throughout Southern California and educates to keep kids safe from predators. Million Kids educates school administrators, teachers, parents, and teenagers how predators identify a potential victim and the methods they use to recruit innocent kids. BMW of Riverside is a proud supporter of Million Kids. Visit BMW of Riverside at the Adams Street exit off the 91 freeway or click bmwofriverside.com.